Welcome back, adventurers. Today we have Taryon Darington, Naive Creator. I don't know about you guys, but I always think this guy's mouth looks weird, but it's just his... Sorry for hitting that. But it's just his mustache. It always makes him look like the Joker to me a little bit. But, Joker appearances aside, Taryon is also not my favorite style of character. So, he's basically Pumat, but this is a more asset version. So we have a 6 hand size 31 health character here, with air, life, and order as his symbols, inventor and vox machina as his traits. We have enhance once per turn, remove X momentum, so remove them from the game. Build one asset from your discard pile with a difficulty of equal to or less than X plus 1, X may equal 0. So that is really interesting, because that means you can build 0 and 1 difficulty assets from your discard pile for free. So that is really good. That is a really good ability. Or you could remove 1 momentum and build a 2 difficulty asset if you wanted to. And then we have enhance, commit 1 asset. This attack is plus X or minus X speed. X equals the printed difficulty of the asset committed to pay for this ability. And we've got a main asset here that is really good for that we'll see here shortly. So what does Taryon want to do? He wants to build assets and then use them for various purposes. Yeah, I've never really been a fan of assets, or at least asset-themed characters. Mimic was pretty cool, but that's because he was easy to abuse, and there was, I don't know, I liked what Mimic was doing a little bit more than Taryon. Taryon feels kind of like Mimic Light, in a way, and with different symbols that, I don't know. He doesn't do it for me. Maybe he does it for you, and if so, I'm here to help you get a good look at what he wants to do so you can start your own journey. So let's start with our attacks with Bedazzled Helm Blast. This card didn't need to exist. That just came from the locals, and this card was dumb. But it's a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 3 high for 6 with a 2 low block. Breaker 1, so if you block with it, your rival's next check gets -1. Powerful 5, which means you can spend any number of momentum, and for each momentum you spent, this attack gets 5 damage. Gross. Ranged, spell, and tech. It has a blitz. This attack gets +1 speed for each asset in your stage. So if we've built 4 assets, this gets 3 or 4 damage on its own, or speed, I'm sorry, plus the speed from Taryon. Trying to hold in a sneeze. So, a very powerful attack for Taryon, because it gets its own speed, then Taryon could give it speed more, and then you can powerful 5 to Oblivion. I had one of my locals play this in Not the Brave, and he sent it as a, 11 high for 41, because of how much momentum he had. He had 7 momentum, so it's 8 speed plus 35 damage. Absolutely disgusting card. This, in my opinion, should have been his Ultra, but I mean, maybe they didn't have a good art for it. Not like Pristine Swordplay. A 4/3, 4 mid for 4 with a 2 mid block, ally, tech, and weapon. And see here, he looks more like Carrie Elwes than the Joker, so maybe it's just looking up at that mustache kind of curling over his lip. Maybe it's just me. But we have a Blitz. Ready 1 asset that has not been readied this combat phase, so we can commit for speed with Taryon, and then ready that card with Pristine Swordplay, and then commit again with Taryon. And then enhance, sacrifice this asset. This attack gets plus X damage, X equals the printed difficulty of the sacrificed asset. So with Taryon and Pristine Swordplay, you can double up on the speed and damage with the difficulty of that asset. So that's pretty good. I will admit that is a very solid card, especially for a character like this. Up next, Violent Animus Shot, a 4/3, 4 high for 5 with a 1 low block. Breaker, ranged, tech, and weapon. As a blitz, we commit 1 foundation, remove 1 backup from any stage, and if we did, draw 1 card, and this card gains flash. So we can commit a foundation, remove our backup, to draw a card and get flash, or we can remove a rival's backup to draw a card and gain flash. And flash is a static that says skip this attack's enhanced step, which means if it gains flash during the enhanced step, as with a blitz ability, the enhanced step automatically ends and we go straight to block. Very powerful control ability. And then response, after this attack deals damage, your rival removes one random card from their hand. So this is a great card to give speed to with Taryon, because your rival's either going to want to go all in to block it, and the more speed you give it, the better, because that's the more foundations they have to commit, or they lose a random card from their hand permanently. We have High Velocity Slice. This is a 5/3, 4 high for 5, and a 2 high block. Breaker 1, Stun 1, and Weapon. Stun 1 says as an enhance, your rival commits 1 foundation. Pretty good, especially when you're comboing it with Taryon's Speed Boost. As a Blitz, if this attack is the only attack in your card pool, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. So you can just net some free momentum for a Bedazzled Helm Blast later. And Deadlock Blitz, this attack gets +1 to its stun rating for each card in your momentum. So if your rival ever goes to 11 or more foundations, this is going to stun them out a lot if you have a lot of momentum. We have Titan Armbar, a 7/3, 5 high for 5 with a 2 high block, Stun 2, and Titan. As a static, while this card is in our card pool, all of our attacks are going to get +2 damage. So a free 2 damage on all of your attacks just for having this in your card pool. So that can really stack up, especially when you're giving a bunch of speed with Taryon. We have Dramatic Slash, a 5/3, 4 mid for 5 with a 2 low block, Charge, Powerful 2, and Weapon. As an enhance, we can spend 1 momentum to build any asset from our discard pile. So instead of removing, 2 momentum to build a 3 difficulty asset, we can just spend 1 momentum and build it from our discard pile for free. Really, really powerful card here. And then enhance, if we have 1 or more assets, we get to reveal the top card of our deck. We may remove it, and if we do, we get to add the top card of our discard pile to the top of our deck. So if we have a way to remove cards, or if we have a way to draw cards, or if we just want to put a good check on top of our deck, it's a really good combo piece for Taryon. And lastly, Bang Bang, a 4/3, 4 low for 4 with a 2 high block, ranged, tech, and weapon. As a blitz, if we have played another attack this turn, this attack gets +2 damage. So we're giving speed with our character. We want to find our damage through our attacks or through other support. So this is just another way to maybe later in a string throw a minimum 4 low for 6, plus whatever we give it with Taryon, that our rival might not be ready for. But Taryon is really only as good as the assets he's allowed to play. And the first asset we're going to throw into this deck is always Dodie the Automaton. This is a 4 difficulty, 5 control asset with a 1 mid block, unique, ally, and tech. Unique means we're only allowed to have 1 in our stage at a time. As a static, if our character is Taryon Darington, this card gets -2 difficulty. So it becomes a 2 difficulty asset. So for Taryon, we only need to spend 1 momentum, or remove 1 momentum, to build Dodie in from our discard pile. However, for his enhance of committing 1 asset, it looks specifically for the printed difficulty, so Dodie gives +4 speed. Very, very good there. Dodie also has a couple of enhances. The first is a commit enhance, which is commit, ready 1 other asset. So if we have another asset that has a commit cost, or we want to reuse with Taryon, we can ready it up. And as a tenacious enhance, which is playable while Dodie is committed, we can remove Dodie. If this attack's damage is greater than our current health, we reset it back to its printed damage. Very, very good defensive ability there. Next we have Badgie, Vengeful Pal. This is a 3/5 with a 1 mid block from the Sam Rutherford Challenger series from Star Trek Lower Decks. It has Breaker 1, ally, and tech. As a response, after we play this card, we immediately build it into our stage. So that's if we play it as a form on a 3 diff, or if we block with it, we immediately build it. But you have to be careful because of this enhance. Once per turn, your attack gets +3 damage. Any player may play this ability. So that means on your rival's turn, they're allowed to use Badgie to give their attacks +3 damage once per turn. But that's only if Badgie is ready. So you can give your attack 3 damage, and then commit Badgie with Taryon to give it 3 speed. And then your rival doesn't have access to Badgie. We also have Suited Up, a 3/5 with a 2 high block, tech, and unique. As a static, we may commit or destroy this card as if it were a foundation to pay a cost, which we're not going to worry about that. As a response, once per each enhanced step, after the speed of an attack is modified, this attack gets +1 or -1 speed, but only playable while this card is committed. So if we commit it for Taryon to give +3 speed, we also get an additional 1 speed, turning it into kind of a pseudo-doty. And then response, once per enhanced step after the damage of an attack is modified, it gets +1 or -1 damage, but that one's only playable while ready. So if you're boosting damage, you want to keep Suited Up ready, and if you're going to boost speed and you want to give an extra +4 speed, you can commit Suited Up for Taryon's effect, or if you're just wanting to do speed because you have plenty of damage with something like Titan Armbar in your stage, or you have attacks with powerful abilities, you can commit Suited Up early and always get that extra +1 to your speed. We have Soup. This is a card you can build in for free with Taryon, a 1/5 with a 1 mid block, a static. After you play this card, build it, similar to Badgie. And then enhanced commit, your attack gets +1 damage, gain 1 health. So it's a little bit of damage boost, plus we get to recover our health a little bit. Not bad. And lastly for our assets, Cape of No Return, a 3/4 with a 3 high block. Enhance remove this attack from the game. So bye-bye to 1 rival attack. This is also unique, so we can only have 1 in our stage at a time, but this is probably all we're going to need at a time. Onto actions, we have Airy Smiles, which is a very solid defensive piece. It's a 3/5 with a 2 high block. Response, flip 1 foundation. After you block with this card, your rival must play a non-attack card as their next form or pass. So it's a great way to just interrupt your rival's offensive turns and really mess with their math. Or as an enhance, we can remove Airy Smiles, add 1 foundation from our stage to the top of our deck. So if we guarantee need to check a 5, we can guarantee check a 5. On to foundations, we have Science Bros. This is a 3/5 with a 2 mid block, unique, ally, and tech. As a response, after we remove 1 or more cards, our attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. So if we want to build in a Badgie or a Suited Up, we can remove our momentum to build that in, and our attack will get +1 speed and +1 damage. Also, as a response, after we remove 1 or more cards to pay a cost, we get to draw 1 card. Pretty simple. We have Tinker's Touch, a 2/5 with a 2 high block, and the tech keyword. Enhance flip, remove 1 card from your discard pile. Your tech or weapon attack gains EX2, Powerful 3, or Stun 1. EX can boost our speed, Powerful 3 can boost our damage, Stun 1 can force our rival to commit foundations. And that also is a removal for Science Bros, which is another way to get stats on our attack. We have Weapon at the Ready, a 1/5 with a 2 mid block and the tech keyword. Enhanced commit, remove 3 cards from your discard pile, add 1 tech card from your discard pile to the top of your deck. So if we have a tech attack like Bedazzled Helm or Pristine Swordplay, or Big Bang, and we put that on top of the deck, if we have a way to draw, like say with Science Bros, because we remove for cost, get the +1/+1, add it to the top of our deck, and then commit Science Bros. Well, I guess we'd commit before we stack because it interrupts. But that's a very powerful way to add a card that we need to draw to the top of our deck, or we can add one of these tech foundations to guarantee a good check. Next we have Show of Strength, a 3/5 with a 3 mid block. Response commit, after you play an attack, it gets +3 damage. We're already getting speed with Taryon, so giving damage from Show of Strength is a really good way to just add on to that. We don't have to worry about the champion response because we are not a champion, but if we were, we could remove it while committed to draw a card after we pass a check against a difficulty of 7 or greater. We have Making Preparations, a 2/5 with a 3 low block and the weapon keyword. Response commit. After your attack gains a speed bonus, it gets +3 damage. Just very simple, just stacking more stats on cards. We have Desperate Plea, a 1/4 with a 2 mid block. Response flip. After you block, build the card you blocked with face up or face down. So this is another good way to cheat in some of these high difficulty assets. We can block with them and then build them face up with Desperate Plea. We have Chase Down, a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance flip. Your attack with a speed of 6 or greater, not printed, gets +2 damage. So by giving anything speed with Taryon, any of these, if we give them at least 2 speed for the most part, will be able to make use of Chase Down, just flipping for an additional +2 damage. We have Effective Punishment, a 3/6 with a 2 mid block. Enhance flip. If this is our first attack this turn, it gets +4 damage. So imagine giving 4 damage by flipping this and then committing Doty for 4 speed. That's a pretty good rate to give your first attack, especially if it's something that has stun, like a high velocity slice, or a Titan armbar. Imagine making this a 9 high 9 with stun 2 that your rival's just going to have to deal with. Oh, technically it's a 9 high 11 because it gives itself 2 damage too. So a 9 high 11 is your first attack. You stun 2, commit 2 of your rival's foundations, and then they have to deal with this huge attack and worry about all the stats that you're stacking on down the line. Incredible start to a turn. We have Mikasa defeats the Female Titan, a 2/4 with a 3 low block. Response flip. After you block an attack, that attack deals no damage. Simple, really good defensive piece. We have Moth Monster, a 2/6 with a 2 high block. Enhance commit. This attack gets -2 speed, but if we've taken damage from a rival attack this turn, it gets -3 speed instead. So that is a really strong speed hate move, plus it's got a nice 6 check there. We have Pressured by All for One, another good way to give ourselves damage. It's a 2/4 with a 1 mid block and the unique keyword. Enhance, destroy 2 foundations. Your ranged or weapon attack gets +3 damage. Most of our attacks are weapons, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I think the only one that's not is Titan Armbar. But just being able to sacrifice 2 foundations at the end of a string, or just any committed foundations throughout a string, to give 3 damage on an attack your rival's not going to be able to block because you gave it +3 or +4 speed, is incredible. We have Rifle Arm, a 2/5 with a 3 low block, the weapon keyword. Enhance commit. This attack gets +2 or -2 speed. If this is the only attack in its owner's card pool, it gets +3 or -3 speed instead. So this could be a great way to save characters like Doty or Badgie. If you just want to commit this for the +3 speed and then save your other assets from Taryon onto your next attacks, this is a great way to start out. And lastly, Fearsome Transformations, a 1/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance flip, draw 1 card. If you have no momentum, discard 1 card. If we have at least 1 momentum, this is just always going to draw us a card. If not, at the worst, it's just a card cycle. And that is Taryon Darington, a Naive Creator. Again, this guy just doesn't really do it for me. Yeah. Maybe, I'm sure he's good. Like, there's definitely some moves that this guy can make on at least 2 of his symbols. I don't quite know what you're doing on life, but I do know on order you get the USS Cerritos, which is a 6 difficulty asset, which is huge. On air, obviously, you can see what we have here with cards like Suited Up, which you also get on order. Badgie is order attuned, but air, I like that we can get Cape and just build that in from our discard pile if we check it. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's just really not my style, so don't take my not very enthusiastic approach as a sign that he's bad, or that you should think he's bad, because he's not. He is good. He's just not for me. But hopefully, he is for you, and you've learned a little bit about where to start with Taryon. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like and leave a comment down below. I love chatting with you guys in the comments, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do a lot of videos for mainly beginners, but also a little bit. I'm getting into a little bit more competitive theory crafting stuff with like my last week Wednesdays, telling you kind of what I'm working with and kind of figuring it out. But I like to be a good resource for newer players or players who are just trying to find new ways to play the game. So I appreciate all of my subscribers, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care.